Street Fighter 6 is coming on June 2nd of this year and will be launching with 18 playable characters to start, more than any other of the franchise's initial rosters, save for Street Fighter 4's, which had a whopping 25. Now, 10 of those characters hail from Street Fighter 2, 2 of them come from Street Fighters 4 and 5 respectively, and then 6 are brand new to the franchise. We're taking a closer look at these 6 newcomers today so as to give you an idea of who they are, how they'll play, and what all they may be bringing to the table in the next evolution of Street Fighter. Let's jump in with the very first newbie to be revealed, Jamie. Jamie is a young breakdance-loving character from Hong Kong. He's clearly inspired by the designs of his cousins, Yun and Yang, with whom he shares a few techniques. Also like the twins, Jamie serves in the role of peacekeeper in his somewhat crime-ridden hometown. Now, unlike the twins, Jamie practices Zui Quan, the Chinese drunken fist martial arts style, and combines this with breakdancing to create his own unique approach to battle. Capcom has given Jamie an interesting level-up system wherein he takes sips from his hip jug to gain access to new attacks and maneuvers amid any given round. Now, developers went out of their way to note that this drink is more like a medicinal tea and not actually alcohol for what that's worth. According to the character designer Kaname Fujioka, Jamie is set up to serve as the Ken Masters for the new generation of Street Fighter fans, contrasting against his rival, Luke, who as the game's protagonist would have to be the new age Ryu. When KOing an opponent with Jamie's critical art, some Chinese text appears on screen. This translates to end of film and is a reference to, well, how this phrase typically appears at the end of many Chinese films. The idea of a male fighter using Chinese martial arts mixed with breakdancing can actually be traced back to the development behind Street Fighter 4's Rufus. His initial concept was King Cobra, a fighter with a slender figure and an original fighting style called Break Kung Fu, mixing elements of Chinese martial arts with breakdancing. Though he lacks a projectile, Jamie has a fairly versatile moveset that includes Rekkas, a forward advancing palm strike, a dive kick, flying up kicks, and even a command grab. Now, Jamie can only access some of these attacks after reaching certain drink levels, meaning players will have to often choose between continuing damage or pressure in lieu of sneaking a drink. Jamie begins the match at a disadvantage from the rest of the cast, uniquely starting at 90% damage scaling, but then gains an extra 5% with each drink he takes, and thus can ultimately reach 110% if he maxes out at level 4. Players who want to main Jamie will need to be comfortable with more patient footsie play, as well as with memorizing more combo routes as the character's most optimal sequences change depending on how much he's had to drink. Those patient enough to jump through these extra hoops will be rewarded, however, with some pretty stylish abilities and stellar damage output. The next newcomer is also part of the younger new guard as we make acquaintance with the high-flying and energetic ninja, Kimberly Jackson. A spunky teen with a boundless amount of energy and enthusiasm, Kimberly had an ordinary upbringing but wound up being a prodigy who graduated college early and now wants to be a full-fledged ninja. Now, Kimberly invited herself to become Guy's student after actually defeating Zeku in friendly combat, and thus to be trained in the Bushin Ryu fight style. She's infatuated with 80s pop culture, specifically when the portable cassette player was at its peak popularity, hence why she always carries one with her. According to Kaname Fujioka, Kimberly is set to serve as the Chun-Li for the new generation of Street Fighter fans. Upon connecting her level 3 super, a track called Bunshin Ninja Star Cypher will replace the match's music for the rest of the battle. A version with vocals also exists and can be heard in a mirror match when both Kimberlys activate their level 3 supers. Also, most of her acrobatic moves and animations are based on cheerleading poses. The character's arsenal of techniques allows her to open up opponents in multiple ways. She can run at her foes, going to various low or high attacks from this running state. And developers gave her traditional ninja abilities with modern twists to them as she replaces smoke and shuriken bombs with more urban paint-themed approaches. She can disappear in clouds of colored smoke and teleport to various points on the screen, and can toss spray paint cans onto the ground that explode after a short delay. Players who use Kimberly may not have the most reach, but will make up for that with quick and sudden movements that are sure to catch opponents off guard. Once she's up in your face, she'll be going to town with spectacular combos and setups involving her spray can bombs as opponents stand back up to their feet. She's definitely for the more aggressive types of players who aren't afraid to throw caution to the wind from time to time and really get fireworks going. We didn't see any French fighters debut in SF5, but the graceful grappler Manon is flying the blue, white, and red as she dances her way into Street Fighter 6. A supermodel and world champion judoka, Manon is an idealist, forever seeking self-improvement in the pursuit of beauty. She struts the catwalk of street fighting to become the world's strongest model, and marries both judo and ballet in her fascinating fight style. She wears a judo gi in her standard outfit, but looks a lot more like a famous supermodel in her alternate costume. She has short hair with Heim-cut bangs and longer fringes on the sides, reminiscent of a swan. In fact, her hairstyle and feather motifs are likely a reference to Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake Ballet. And said hairstyle also bears a near resemblance to Lady Gaga, specifically in the music videos from her very first album, The Fame. Finally, Manon's fingernails are painted to match the colors of the French flag, which is a nice little patriotic touch for this graceful newcomer. Her go-to special attacks are command grabs that see her flip and flop her foes about as though she were dancing with them. Manon has a special level up system, but unlike her fellow dancing fighter Jamie, hers increases when she successfully lands her command grabs. These levels do not reset or deplete in any way, even across rounds, making Manon all the stronger as the match goes on and she gets closer to level 5 where her grabs garner maximal benefits. We're still learning a lot about what Manon will offer in the gameplay department, but her long limbs paired with an ability to hook and draw enemies in close lead us to believe that she won't struggle as much to get in as the traditional grappler does. Next up is the swollest fighter on Street Fighter 6's roster yet, Marisa, who's an up-and-coming jewelry designer from Italy who claims ancestry to ancient Greek warriors. And as a child, she was inspired by a vision of the Colosseum in its prime, and today she seeks glory with a smile and an eye for beauty. Marisa is large, fierce, strong, and intimidating, but despite her size, she has a passion for designing jewelry and an ironic fear of heights. Her bob-length red hair is styled to look like a Spartan helmet, though she also carries an actual Spartan helmet around with her. She's very statuesque with a stocky build and wears a gold-trimmed black attire. To date, Marisa is the tallest female character in the series at 6'8", beating out previous title holder Elena by 8 inches. She's also the heaviest female character in the series at 269 pounds, topping Laura by a whopping 110 pounds. A powerhouse of a character, Marisa utilizes her long limbs to unleash slow yet gargantuan attacks. She primarily uses Pangration, a submission-based fight style that combines wrestling with boxing dating back to 7th century Greece. She can use Gladius, a devastating straight punch that can be wound up for extra damage, and Sciotum, a defensive stance that gives her upper body armor and counters an opponent's incoming attack. Quadriga is a powerful front kick that references history's most relevant piece of Greek culture, Zack Snyder's 2006 banger, 300. Her level 3 super art channels the goddess of the hunt into an almighty tackle straight into a wall. Those who opt to use Marisa will likely appreciate the satisfaction of landing huge haymakers for big chunks of damage at a time, but will need to pair patience with strategy in order to catch faster opponents just at the right moment. We're not exactly sure how to feel about having another Street Fighter without M. Bison, at least not yet, but it looks like Capcom is aiming to fill the big boss shoes with JP this time around. We don't know a ton about JP, but he does carry himself as an esteemed and successful businessman, perhaps as a bit of an allusion to JP Morgan. Despite appearing a good bit older than most anyone else on the roster, JP is a well-built man who looks plenty physically formidable. His primary outfit consists of a pair of orange dress pants with a matching vest, along with a frilled short-sleeve shirt with a blue gem in the center. He's the head of an international non-profit organization responsible for many successful investment projects, and the man behind the present prosperity of the fictional country of Nashal. Now, it's more than likely that JP is our main big bad guy this time around, with obvious ulterior motives than what we see on the surface, and we have to wonder whether or not some of the more negative major story threads, such as the terrorist bombing that killed Luke's father and that Ken was framed for, have been done at his behest. JP wields his cane in his leading hand while holding the other behind his back, charged with a mysterious power that very well may be psycho power or an extension of it. While he normally fights with cane strikes and kicks, he can also use his hidden hand to summon portals, spikes, and specters to do his bidding, even switching his cane to his other hand to do so. JP is a no-nonsense leader with a gold-type personality that's all about order, cleanliness, and working hard to ensure success. Also, he has a beloved cat named Cybele. He appears to have an interesting approach to the zoning character archetype, and players who wish to use him are probably going to need to think outside the box a bit, as many of his attacks must be set up and come from uncommon angles and positions on screen. He may have a harder time with foes who can rush him down and put on pressure easily, though we do know that he has a unique parry technique that causes a projectile to summon and pursue foes. How do you think he'll rank amongst the likes of those who have come before him, such as M. Bison, Gil, and Seth? The final newcomer to be revealed for Street Fighter VI is none other than Lily, a younger Native American girl with ferocious attacks hidden behind a small stature and cheerful presentation. Lily speaks with the spirits of nature, harnessing the particular power of wind to enhance her maneuvers and attacks. She's the franchise's third playable character with confirmed ties to the Thunderfoot tribe after T-Hawk and Julie, and is the fourth to use dual-wielded weapons after Eagle, Sodom, and DeCapri. Said weapons are ball-headed war clubs, which she uses to attack from deceptively long ranges. As a fellow Thunderfoot member, Lily uses many of the same techniques as T-Hawk, such as the Tomahawk Buster, Condor Spire, and Condor Dive. However, her unique Condor Wind maneuver allows her to store wind-clad stocks to amplify these special moves. If you're gonna main Lily, you'll have a nice variety of farther range normals, specials that use Lily's own body as a projectile of sorts, and what looks like it could be a command grab to keep foes on toes. Lily's ultimate strength will come down to the effectiveness of her versatile abilities when used all together, but even at this early stage we can say that she's an exciting new character whom longtime fans of T-Hawk are sure to be intrigued by. And that's all 6 of the brand new franchise entries Street Fighter VI will be bringing with it when it launches on June 2nd. We'd love to hear your thoughts on how you like or don't like these fresh faces. Which is your favorite of the bunch, and whether or not you'll be trying some or all of them out. I've been John Velociraptor Guerrero for EventHubs. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in our next video.